Here's the Cartoon Network pushing what is obviously racism.
Well, I'm not an alien, but it definitely matters to me that I'm black. Yeah, it makes a difference that I'm white.
Did you catch
Oh my
that?
God,
Did you catch
it's
that
so
subtle difference?
What's it? What
A black
in the-
character says, it definitely matters to me that I'm black. It matters to me that I'm black. And then the white character says, and it makes a difference that I'm white.
What am I missing here?
Well, imagine if the white character says, it matters to me that I'm white.
Oh,
how would
so
that
they,
come off?
yeah, because they couldn't say that. Yeah, exactly. Because that sounds holy shit. That's like racist as fuck.
That sounds like white nationalism right there. If you say, well, it matters to me that I'm white. So, but that's part of the bullshit of the whole see color idea. It's like, oh, if you're a minority, your racial status matters to you and is important to you, and you can use this as a shield and as a sword. But if you're the majority, if you're white, oh, well, you know, you just have to acknowledge that it makes a difference, that makes you bad.
There is a huge difference though, but it's not a race thing. You're going to be more race conscious if you're in the minority. It's just, that's a fact of life.
If you're in
That's
the
just a
minority of
fact
any
of life.
group, yes.
Yeah.
Not
Yes.
just race, anything. Yeah.
Well, even back when America wasn't separated between whites and blacks. It was like whites were many different categories that didn't get along. So, I mean, even if you were like the Italians and the Italians were outnumbered.
Of course.
You were more Italian conscious then.
The strictest immigration policy that the white nationalists always like to bring up was created with the intention to limit white immigration for what was considered non-desirable white people back in those days, which, as you said, were, you know, Italians and Eastern Europeans and stuff like that. But
it's so crazy.
Yeah, but it's just, I just imagine the person writing this PSA and they're like, oh shit, the black girl's gonna say it matters to her that she's black, but I can't have the white child say that. What do I say? how do I word this so it doesn't sound terrible?
That's a great catch. Yeah, that's a great catch. If she said exactly the same thing, I wonder if in the first draft of the script she did say the same thing, and they're like, "Oh my God, don't let that child say that. We need reshoots quick."
But that's one of the biggest problems with this whole woke ideology is that people are very good at focusing and intuitively picking out unfairness and when things are not the same. And so the whole woke racialized nonsense is trying to create separate rules for separate categories of people based on their race, which no one's ever going to be on board with that, ever.
Yeah, totally.
Except for the people that benefit from it, of course.
Yeah, there are people benefiting from it, definitely.
Overtly racist garbage. Here's the Cartoon Network pushing what is obviously racism.
Well, I'm not an alien, but it definitely matters to me that I'm black. Yeah, it makes a difference that I'm white. I know the two of us get treated very differently. My experience with anti-black racism is really specific. Other people of color experience other forms of racism too, but you won't see any of that if you don't see color.
Can we get a rewrite where we appreciate each other?
Dude, it's so sad. Like, what am I supposed to do now? I mean, am I like, it doesn't feel right for me to see a black person and feel sorry for them. That feels so fucking condescending. Like, I don't understand here. Like, this PSA is basically saying you're supposed to see that I have black skin and therefore society is against me. You should fucking feel sorry for me. What the fuck? This is crazy.
A lot of the woke ideology stuff, when you actually look into the literature of where it was formed, talking about like people's are, we're talking about this, the whole, and James Lindsay has a really good video on this, where he talks about how, you know, the origin of the See Color movement comes from Kimberly Crenshaw, when she was creating the term intersectionality. And whenever you look at the literature for this stuff, it's always based around gaining political power. It's not like someone came up with an idea and said, this is the way the world works. They say, no. In order to gain political power, we have to define racism so that it only applies to white people. In order to gain political power, we have to start seeing color and identifying based on our color before we identify on our humanity. And it's just so incredibly destructive. It's so against everything liberal society has fought for in the civil rights movement.
Just, I mean, I don't, man. It's just weird to pair those two things together. Like just the fact that you're supposed to see color and you're supposed to acknowledge that your life sucks. Like, what the fuck? I just don't get it, man.
They realize that there's it's really gross when you break it down, because basically the way these woke grievance days work is that they realize that liberalism and liberal society works to some extent, because they're basically using the weakness of liberal society against them. They're saying, okay, liberal society is trying not to be racist, right? Is trying not to be sexist, is trying not to be all these things. They believe in all these ideas. So we can weaponize that feeling against society by using our blackness as a sword and shield to try to, advocate and push for these political changes that we want. And it's really fucking toxic and destructive.
How does that help you, though? How does that help you? Like, I don't want anyone feeling sorry for me for anything. Like, that just is repugnant to me. Like, I feel like, don't feel sorry for me. What are you feeling sorry for? Like, I've had challenges in my life, but I don't want people feeling sorry for me. Oh God, it's so condescending. It's painful.
It helps. Yeah, but that's the thing. It doesn't help you on an individual level, perhaps, but it helps you on a political level. That's why all this, what's literally why this PSA exists on Cartoon Network. It's why all this woke shit is burning through college campuses and corporations, and people are too afraid to fight back against it. That's how it helps them. Or it helps the idea.
PSA, the synthesizing this message to me just screams, life for black people sucks. Like, how can you make a fucking message like that?
It's also, I mean, we talk about this too. It's very important for people to have positive role models in their life. And so that's why I'm not against necessarily, you want to have like your black superhero or your female superhero who's a positive role model. I mean, you don't want them to be a Mary Sue because that's not a positive role model, but you want, positive role models that people can emulate. And whenever you have the black role model in the PSA is supposed to be saying, as you said, that my life is fucking terrible.
My life is fucking terrible. That's your role model.
This oppressive, systemically oppressed society.
Everybody hates
the world is.
Everyone who looks at me hates me. That's my existence.
Right. And we talked about this last week, where there was that situation where there was a girl who was at some college, a college that like the tuition is $78,000. Okay. This is a top tier college. And she goes and eats in a cafeteria. This is during the summer. She goes and eats in a cafeteria that's supposed to be closed down for the summer. So no one is supposed to be allowed in there.
Oh, yeah. I remember this story.
And the school tells the security guard, or it tells the janitors, it says, hey, if you see any student eating in this closed off cafeteria, go tell security because no one is supposed to be in here. So a janitor who's making, minimum wage sees a student sitting somewhere like far away in the corner of the room. So they can't make out anything about the student. They don't know if they're male or female. They probably can't even see what fucking race they are. They just see a student or a person. They don't even know if they're a student. They see a person is in a closed off area of the school that they're not supposed to be in. So they go and they tell security, as they were told to do. And security comes over and says, what are you doing? Why are you eating here? And the student, who happens to be black and female, automatically jumps to the fucking conclusion they're attacking me because I'm black. They think black people shouldn't be allowed on campus. They think a black person doesn't deserve to be here. Yeah. And she makes this huge fucking deal trying to get these people all fired from their jobs, trying to brand the school as a racist when there was nothing racial going on whatsoever.
Yeah. She must have saw this PSA and saw this little black girl and was like, "Oh, I'm that little black girl,
Exactly.
oppressed by everyone."
Exactly. She bought into the pattern that
Yep.
she, being a black female, even though she's literally attending a top tier college in America, and her parents make far more money, and she will make far more money, presumably, than the janitors and security guards who are talking to her civilly. They didn't fucking arrest her. They just asked her what she was doing there, and she freaks the fuck out because she bought into the pattern that she lives in this ultra racist, systemically oppressed society. She loses her fucking mind over a non-story, a non-interaction, something that she would have just been like, well, I was just eating here. And the security guard says, well, you can't eat here because it's closed off. And she says, oh, okay. And then she walks out. And then the fucking world keeps turning and everyone moves on with their lives. But no.
Where are the stories? Because if they're signal boosting all these stories that basically are nothing, like they're not real racism, they're microaggressions, or not even microaggressions. This is just completely fictitious aggression. Where's the story of the real racism? Like the people who are, real racists really interfering in blacks' lives. I guess they would say that's like the George Floyd situation and stuff like that.
Yeah,
The
they would say
Michael
the
Brown
George Floyd
situation.
situation, sure. Right.
Yeah.
Although,
Okay.
of course, there's when you ask where's the real racism, there's the irony of there's been all this rash of attacks on Asians in New York and in California.
Oh yeah.
That definitely seem to have some racialized component to them.
Right, but
And
it's blacks on Asians,
yeah, but
correct?
it's generally black youth committing the crimes against these Asian people, and for some reason this is not allowed to be talked about. And when it is talked about, it's talked about as if it has something to do with white nationalism. There was some parade in New York or something, some group that was doing a protest the recent violence against Asians in New York, and it was on the basis of, well, they're being attacked by white supremacy. It's like, what the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah, that makes no sense.
We live in a clown world, Adam. Okay.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that.
Each other without erasing what makes each of us different?
Look how they have the director is obviously a white guy lording over these other.
That's right. Some fat white guy.
Yeah.
Okay, but
I'm
it's gonna
surprised
add
they
a
didn't
couple
put a
hours.
MAGA hat on him.
Well, it is red. Okay.
To the shoot.
I can make it work. Open.
You were rolling just now, weren't you? Can't we just slap some graphics on this and call it a day?
See, they still have to have the girl totally castigate the the director.
So there it is. Look, see color. See color.
Yeah.
Be anti-racist.
Which they've obviously never read George Lakoff, because 99% of people are going to read that as be racist.
They haven't read anything, Adam. I would love to know who wrote this thing and be like, look, what the fuck? Do you understand that the origin of what you're saying? And when this came out, I tweeted about it, and I got all these fucking woke people pushing back on me who have no understanding of what is being advocated here. When I said Martin Luther King Jr. is spinning in his fucking grave. Because this is the exact opposite of everything that was fought for in the civil rights movement, which was, we have a common humanity. We are all human beings. We are all Americans. We need to throw away this idea of race.
Yep. The promissory note. America promised us equality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. This idea. And it's so funny because whenever these people argue with white nationalists, what do they always say? They always say, race is a social construct. Race is a social construct, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, so let's try to fucking dismantle it and not think about it anymore. Like, I thought
American
that was the
race.
goal.
We're the American race.
Right. That was the goal. And now it's the opposite. And it's literally, and it's just so crazy to literally see something say see color on Cartoon Network. See color.
They're all anti-nationalists, though. They could never conceptualize America as a race. I want to point out, George Lakoff famously wrote a book called "Don't Think of an Elephant," where he says, on on the left, and he's just a huge progressive. He says progressive messaging is just terrible because they don't get it. Conservatives seem to understand the affect of words, how they activate something in us in a way that progressives don't necessarily get. And in the book, he called the book "Don't Think of an Elephant" because he said, whenever you say don't, think of an elephant, your mind immediately thinks of an elephant. Like you've activated the elephant meme in your head. So he always says you should talk in the affirmative. You should never talk in the negative because you're activating the thing that you don't want to activate. And this ad here, I can't help it screaming at me. It says, see color, be racist. It fucking literally says it. Like, George Lakoff, please call your side. Talk to somebody. My kids are watching Cartoon Network and they're seeing, oh, be racist. I saw that on TV. Like, they don't remember the anti part. They remember the racist part.
Right.
That's the part that activating. Oh, it's so bad.
Well, to be clear, it's not the argument that George Lakoff and other people are making. It's not that you don't remember. It's that neurolinguistically, your brain doesn't attach on to positive and negative affirmations. They only attach onto the subject. So they're going to. So your brain is going to see this as see color, be racist.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yes, you're going to remember it that way, especially since the content of the ad is pretty much, I mean, let's face it, it's racist. It's totally racist.
No, but I wonder if the person that wrote this, do they understand that this ideology that they're promoting is not only super racist, but was literally designed to be racist?
No, they don't. They don't know about the... You're talking... It's Ibram Kendi, right? Who's the guy who's saying...
Well, I don't know who wrote this shit. But that's the problem. Maybe George Lakoff...
CRT, though.
Yeah, but maybe George Lakoff is wrong with this whole... where he says the left doesn't know how to message things. Because all this racist shit and all this woke shit is using left liberal terminology to infiltrate the left in America. So they understand something, right?
Well, they definitely, they've cast all of conservatives as racist. I think that was politically expedient for them. Yes. I mean, it's going to cause a race war, but whatever.
Well, they're not.
If it gets their candidates elected.
It started not by casting all conservatives necessarily as racist. It started by saying, if you don't agree with us,
you're racist. Right? Yeah. Yes. Yes. Inadvertently casting them, everyone who doesn't agree with them, as racist. That's been the political strategy all along. Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Is it working? It is.
It is. Yeah.